Good afternoon, everybody. It is Tuesday afternoon around 3:30 on this March 4th. I'm Chief Meteorologist Casanova Nurse letting you know about the expectations of tonight's line of storms. Yes, it's breezy and it's windy, and that's going to be part of the storm complex that comes through, but I'm not seeing this as being something of extraordinary levels. It will come in during the early parts of the morning while you're sleeping in some cases, and yes, there will be some disruptive weather features, especially when it comes to those winds. They're going to be mostly straight line winds as a line of rain and a couple thunderstorms pushes through our area. And with the winds as they are, that's a good indication of how those winds can be once that line of rain comes through. But this will be something that sweeps through pretty steadily. I'd say starting in our western areas around 3 o'clock on your Wednesday morning, progressing eastward, and then exiting our eastern counties around the I-75 corridor by about 11, if not a little bit before. Yes, this will be again during while folks sleep. A little bit of that time will be during the morning commute, school drop-off times. So plan accordingly for this line of thunderstorms. Gusts will be frequent. I think that's the main hazard with this, as well as some of those gusts causing some pockets of damage. You know the deal. Trees, branches, power outages can be scattered around. Wouldn't rule out a stray tornado, but I think this is going to be primarily a straight line wind event as it reaches our area. Very potent low over the plains that's driving this line of thunderstorms that's triggering tornado watches across southeastern Louisiana and Mississippi. I would not be surprised if maybe another watch is extended east of there later today, which may include the western Florida panhandle. Will we have a tornado watch? It remains to be seen. I'm not overly convinced this will be a tornado dominant situation, but I do believe that we can see this line of storms kind of weakening a bit as it marches through from west to east. So it can be strongest, maybe more potent across tri-state areas before dawn. When it comes to gusty wind potential, it can be a little more numerous, and I would suspect we'll have some severe thunderstorm warnings. It tends to weaken some, not entirely collapse and fall apart, but it does tend to weaken some as it moves to the east. So maybe a little less of the wind force in portions east of Highway 319, but we'll be monitoring things all night long and through the morning to give you a step-by-step rundown of expectations as the line comes through. Forecast wind gusts, as mentioned, they've been kicking today. Some areas have gusted over 40 miles per hour. When those storms come through, you can get a little enhancement, and again, 60 miles per hour is the threshold for severe thunderstorms. And again, I think that could be easily achieved, especially in tri-state and Lake Seminole counties, and then continued breezy afterwards, even once the line goes through. So a very windy day overall. It's been like that today. It'll be like that tonight and a good chunk of tomorrow. A wind advisory for all of our South Georgia counties, as well as the eastern panhandle and the wiregrass of Alabama. So winds can easily be upwards of 15 to 30 with gusts upwards of 45. So as I mentioned earlier, wind gusts will be the primary hazard from this line of rain and storms. There may not be a whole lot of thunder and lightning, but you'll hear the leaves rustling and the branches swaying and even a little bit of wind howling. Lesser chances for other severe weather hazards, like a tornado. A spin up is possible. I don't think it's going to be a widespread issue, but if a tornado warning does get issued, you should know about and have a way to get that alert if it were to be issued. Severe weather is possible, again, more so late tonight, and again, I think locally speaking, early in the morning, 3 a.m. or so in tri-state areas, and then becomes a little less in overall production of severe gusts as you move to the east. Now, it can start to pick up a little bit more east of I-75 depending on the timing of the day. So that is something to keep in mind, especially in like the First Coast area or the Georgia coastline. I mentioned lightning and thunder may not be all that frequent, but there will be a few flashes every so often, and that can certainly startle folks who are kind of sensitive to that. And rainfall will be manageable. As this moves steadily off to the east, I do think we can see rainfall amounts up to an inch. I think many of us will be below an inch, and some of the projections range from about a quarter inch to a half an inch. So I don't see flooding as a big issue, but there will be some times where you may be woke up by the sound of wind, maybe a clap of thunder or two, and maybe you have to kind of duck and dodge areas of rain as they move through the rest of the morning time frame. So to wrap things up on this, what you need to know, early morning through sunrise, and then in the late morning from west to east, that's the general timing. Gusts will be frequent. We have them now. We'll have them with the rain. We'll have them afterwards. And that gusty trend can cause a little bit of damage. So that's going to be a concern. A stray tornado is possible. I don't think it's likely, but it can happen. And I'd say most inland areas for the strongest wind gusts, but if you're even at the coast, you're being blasted by those strong southerly winds. So even outside of any storms, it's going to continue to be rather windy. I am updating things on my end, and I'll have a full rundown and expectations again coming up during our evening newscast. Plus, I'll post another digital clip for you as we go later into the night to keep you in the know about storm expectations for our Florida Georgia line region.